I I am literally counting down the days until Doge probably destroys, deletes, or potentially even fires someone from the federal government who is actually, kind of important and knows what they're doing. Especially, let's say, should a crisis break out, you know, kind of important that you've got competent people to be able to deal with this type of stuff. If you've ever been in a business or something like that, one person, sort of takes the lead and then they delegate other tasks to more other competent people. And that tends to be how most things are and how most things should be. But no, we've just had the exact same thing happen at what happened at Twitter. Because Twitter fired its security guards only for them then to come back the next day and find out they couldn't get in the building, and they couldn't get in the building because the people who normally deal with that stuff and that system, they had fired the day before. So then they had to rehire those people, get back in the building, and then they fired them again. And you've just had now Doge, or shall we say Musk, or well, whether Musk is actually leading Doge or not, who knows? He seems to have distanced himself from it, probably knowing that something bad is about to happen or could happen. So, he'll take credit for when something good, but when something bad happens, I wasn't involved in that. You know, that was Big Balls McGee. um, so yeah, it is kind of bizarre that these things keep on happening, and it is an exact replica of what's going on Twitter. And but Twitter runs so well now. No, it's not. It's an absolute hellscape. It's lost all of its advertisers. It's hemorrhaging money hand over fist. Um, how long it can last for like doing that, I don't know. But I'll tell you this now: I think the Saudi Arabian shareholders in that bought along in with it of Musk are probably getting quite upset, along with them losing all this money. We know that has happened before. I wouldn't be surprised when it comes up to the next big shareholder meeting for Twitter that there's a lot more, shall we say, things said about that. But we'll see what happens when that comes along. However, there has been, of course, and we've talked a lot about what could happen, like what are some of the worst things that could happen under Trump. We know a pandemic that could maybe, we hope doesn't pop up. That being led by Donald Trump, especially by the fact that you've got Robert F. You've got RFK. I was going to say, RFK Jr. In there, and he's absolutely insane health claims that will certainly hurt the American health wise quite substantially. That's for sure. If that should happen, hope you dodge that. Hope we all dodge that bullet, to be honest. But yeah, hope you dodge that bullet, America, if it comes for you, because it's not one bullet, it's two you might have to dodge. A lot of people, of course, talk about the fact, why isn't America taking the threat of climate change very seriously, especially when we saw, what happened in California. They're still not taking climate change seriously either on that. If you want to have another good look at stuff they just aren't taking seriously, just look at how many plane accidents there have been. This is because they have gutted the aviation standards. The Reagan pretty much got rid of the air traffic controllers like union. They have been overstretched, overworked. It's exactly the same thing that happened that caused, if you may remember, the big train crash. What was it? A couple of years ago now. Exact same thing happened there. That hasn't changed. No regulations were passed because the Republicans stopped them on that. So, potentially another just as bad train crash could happen there as well. But the one that I have always said, and the one that is, I think, most likely to happen, would be some sort of global financial crash. And George Minbut today wrote an article about, well, here's what could happen, and here's how Trump could cause all these crashes. Now, I think the one worth focusing on, that's what we're going to focus on, is the financial crash one, because I think this is the one that is out of the three that he says that could happen. I think out of all of them, that is the most likely one to occur, like a massive global sort of financial crash, basically on the scale of 2008. Will Trump care? Will he do anything about it? No. He won't. He's just physically not equipped to it. The people around his organization, if it does collapse, will just go, "Oh well, it was meant to happen." There won't be any bailout this time. That's for sure. So if you're in America and you lose all your money, well, Trump ain't gonna protect your money. He'll protect his friend's money, but yours ain't being protected. That's for sure. So let's go into some of this stuff, because I think this is the most, likely scenario to happen. And I think the one that, governments around the world should be preparing for. And I think that includes our own. And yeah, we have seen financial rules and standards slashed recently over here in America. Well, not over in the UK, shall we say, where we had these exact same protections brought in after the 2008 crash to protect our economy and to lessen the damage something like that happen in the future. So that is something we should take very, very seriously indeed on that. So let's go on into this. But before we do that, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the one after link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can well buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there's the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on then into this. So there are many ways that Trump could trigger a global collapse. Here's how to survive if that happens. So, though we might find it hard to imagine, we cannot rule it out. The possibility of a seismic collapse in the United States, the degradation of the federal government by Donald Trump and Elon Musk, could trigger now a series of converging and compounding crises, leading to social, financial, and industrial failure. So, I think it's very well said on this, but I still think the one that could happen is the financial collapse on this. So he continues, there are several possible mechanisms. Let's start with the most obvious one. I agree with him. This is, I think, easily the most obvious one, a big financial collapse on the scale of, even bigger, on the scale of 2008. So let's start with the obvious one. Their assault on financial regulation. Trump's appointee to the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Russell Vought, has now suspended all the agency's activity. He has slashed its budget and now could be pursuing Musk's ambition to now delete the bureau. The CFPC was established by Congress as the 2008 financial crisis to protect people from predatory activity that helped trigger the crash. This signals now is that the financial sector could not be clearer. Fill your boots, boys. A financial crisis in the US would immediately become a global one. So, yeah, there are, I think, really easily on this. Just that alone, I think that is the most one likely to happen. And goes on, it talks about, the ecological, etc. ones as well. But I think that's the one that's most likely to happen. I really do. I think if there is to be a big crisis that Trump has to deal with, it'll be a financial one. Yeah, I absolutely think it is. I think this has been warned about continuously. You've seen a lot of economists warning about what could happen, and we still don't know whether Trump is going to go through with those tariffs on Mexico and Canada at the end of the month. We don't know if he's going to continue on that. We don't know what we expect. Of course, potential ones coming on us and the EU potentially coming soon. We don't know. It could all get very interesting very soon on that front. That will certainly damage a lot. That could send other things happen. These types of systems are very complex. But when these complex systems, have a pin pulled, they can very quickly fail it. And they can very quickly cascade very quickly. I think that's the system where we are seeing that. We are seeing that sort of collapse, or at least that financial collapse, certainly coming into view. And that is worrying. That should worry everyone around the world, because if there's a big financial collapse in America, as we saw in 2008, that can have ripple effects across the world. So, as always, let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.